folks, and welcome to another Saturday Morning Samoflange. I'm Matt by myself, and we're talking about a topic that I thought about the other day, and I checked to make sure, because I feel like I have talked about this before. I talked about, shows. If we did, it was way longer than I can keep track of. There's a few early episodes of Saturday Morning Samoflange that may be lost for all eternity. But I just can't find them. They're kind of dug. I have to dig through my YouTube. And even doing a search, it's not pulling up every episode. So I guess I misspelled Samoflange back in the day a couple of times wrong. Well, now that I think I know, I think I know the other spelling I used to do. Never mind. I think I figured it out. Anyway, but I couldn't figure, but I know we've talked about this before. Shows we wish had gotten an ending. Shows we wish we'd gotten an ending. TV shows you wish you'd gotten an ending. We talked about shows we wish we would continue. Wish we could have gone extra episodes and everything. But this is not the same list. I found that there's 2 on here, maybe, that would have been the same from that crossover. This is like if they could have given it an ending. You get 1 episode. You get just a mini series, a TV movie or whatever to wrap it up. Not that it would continue. I mean, we did TV shows we wish would continue on or wish would have continued. But these are like, hey, I wish we would have gotten closure on them. There's a few TV shows out there that people wish we would have gotten closure on. Jericho was a big one back in the day. People want to know what happened. And you can talk, Dad loved a show called Life on Mars that got canceled and it didn't end. My wife, there's a CSI spinoff. She really wants, it ended on a cliffhanger, and she really wants to know what happened to it. In fact, one of my friends is an actor in Hollywood. He does roles. You probably do know him. I may have mentioned him before. I'm not going to mention him now. It feels like it's name dropping. But he was the main bad guy in the show. And my wife made me text him to ask him if he knew the ending. And I begged her not to. That's a stupid thing to do. It's so groupy. But anyway, I asked him. I said, do you know? He said, no, they never told me what would happen in season 2. So... Anyway, though, looking at my top 5 here, these were shows I wish just had an ending. Yeah, I wanted some of them to continue, but I wanted an ending. Now that I'm thinking about that, I may want to switch 4 and 5. No, I'll keep it. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to second guess myself. The other thing I hate about not having Benjamin or Mikey on these podcasts is we don't get to say how much crossover. Because with Mikey, there would be 0 crossover. I would be 100% sure. I'd say 0 crossover. With Benjamin, 1. Maybe. Unless he's thinking of something else. But, those guys have watched more shows. They may, who knows? Maybe they may have the same thing. Maybe they say, hey, we didn't like the way this ended. We want to have a better ending. I guess that's fair, too, to say. But you wanted one to end successfully. Right now, I am on the fence of watching Game of Thrones. I hear it ended terribly. Like, the last season was bad, but the last episode is extremely bad. And I'm thinking, why do I want to torture myself and watch the whole show if I'm going to be pissed off at the end? But then everyone says, oh, no, the show's still worth watching. That's a big if. When I go all in, I'm going to watch this show. If I figure out I waste my time watching the show, I may be pissed. But either way, I digress. Here we go. I am going to talk about my top 5 TV shows I wish had been given an ending. Number 5, Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Came out back in the day. I think Terminator Salvation was about to come out. And I was for sure they would renew, even though numbers were low, that they would renew it for a 3rd season. Because Salvation, the newest movie that was being hyped, was coming out. So maybe that would give the TV show some life. And even so, even if it didn't, then at least they'd be able to finish off the story, which I was interested in. And I wanted to hear about it. It was about John and his mother growing up, I think. Or no, it was about Sarah? I can't remember. Either way, the timeline's so messed up. Season 1 was meh. Season 2 got better. And I was like, okay, let's go for season 3. It never happened. Sadly, it never got a good ending, but I was interested in where it was going. I wanted to see more. I was enjoying the villain. I was enjoying the storyline. Unfortunately, we won't get to see any of that. because it's never coming back. None of these I expect ever to come back, or it's kind of too late. The ship has sailed. But I wish they would have gotten a TV movie or a mini series or a season to finish off the storyline. Number 4 is one I know I've talked about before, Quantum Leap. Universal Studios was in talks of doing a movie with them. They were always in talks of doing a TV movie, something. It was always intended to wrap it up in a movie, either on the screen or TV movie. They said they left the finale open because they wanted to do one big story. They never got the chance. And it's sad now because, what's his name still around, but the ship has sailed now. The magic's over. And the thing is, though, that's a series, to be honest, I've been interested about watching again. I'm sure it's not as good as it was when it first came on, but I liked it, about a man who leaps into different moments in time, crucial moments in time, to right the wrong. Like they made the wrong decision, and now he's got to find out what he needs to do to change things up. And sometimes the show is really witty. Really witty. I remember there's one episode where he thought there was he has a hologram friend who he can only see, who's trying to calculate what it is that he must change. And they're so sure this is it, but when he does it and nothing happens, he goes, I didn't jump. I didn't do it. What's wrong? What did I not do? And they don't know. And then at the very end, he gives some advice to some kid, and they find out this kid is supposed to be, I won't ruin it, someone famous. And that was the advice he needed to give. And when they looked at each other, he jumps. Like, oh my gosh, that was it. It was the simplest thing in the world. And so they did some twist on it every once in a while. And it's a show I would like to watch again. In fact, I love the finale, even though it didn't give us closure. Because you're always wanted, I think his name was Sam Beckett, you always wanted Dr. Beckett to jump to make the final. That's what the TV show would say. He's trying to make the final jump back home. And you thought he'd jump back home. But he didn't. He jumps, but we don't know where to. But he doesn't go back home. So even the finale, which a lot of people didn't like, I loved. I thought it was great. I remember watching it the day it came out, the night it came out. It was must-watch TV back then. My mom was into this series too, which is why we really got to watch it. But it always bothered me why. And years later, I would read that they were trying to get a TV movie or movie approved. They were in talks of it. Supposedly it was serious talks, and everything fell apart. And that's so sad because at this point, you could do a novelization. I guess they don't think it's worth paying someone, but if you have this, throw someone a couple thousand. You can make your money on that. I would buy that. What did they do? John Jackson Miller did an 89 Batman book. Heck yeah, I'm going to read that. I haven't got around to it yet, but I am. I intend to read the official Batman Michael Keaton movie sequel, I bet it only includes, I think it takes place between 1 and 2, but to be honest, I wish it would include 2 as well. Either way, though, I'm interested in that. In fact, I think that's the proper way to give some of these old TV shows or movies their beloved sequel, is in novelization format. The actors are too old, they can't come back, or they're dead, so give them a novel. There's a Dukes of Hazzard novel that I didn't know about this till a couple of years ago. It explains why the Duke cousins were there. Like, what really happened is the Dukes had a contract dispute, I think it was in season 5, didn't come back, and so they replaced them with what's called the Duke cousins, which were carbon copies of the Dukes. Everyone hated them, and then midway through the 5th season, the contracts with the original Duke boys got cleared out, and then they jump into basically it's such a sham. And I did talk to, we went to Duke Fest all the time, and they do regret not speaking up to the writers and producers on the show and said, hey, we did the cousins dirty. Because all it was like a 1 minute opening scene where the Dukes come back, thank the Duke cousins, and send them off, and then the Dukes go on to an adventure. Like, they just very quickly handed the baton back and left them. Like, you guys are worthless. And the original actor said we should have done some episodes with them. Like, we should have said, hey, keep these guys on. Let's show a connection between the 4 of us that we're all friends. Kind of legitimize them, because they were getting hated on by fans. And they're not one of them. I think one's dead. Coy or Vance are dead. And the other one was still alive. We got a picture. My wife got a picture and autograph of him. But He even is so thankful for the fans. He said, yeah, it was a little bit of hate mail. He said, but he didn't let it bother him. He understood. He even said, oh man, I'm jumping into an iconic role. People are going to hate me. And so he's fine with it. But he said the fans now just love him, and he's thankful for that. But there's a book that explains where the Duke boys were, what they were doing. It takes the reason set forth as a one throwaway line in the TV show and gives you a whole adventure. And it's great. It's actually a really good book. Whoever wrote it loved the series, you could tell, and it feels like you're reading an episode of the Dukes of Hazzard, like with the what's it called, the ballad or whatever, giving his talks at the end. Well, looks like them Duke boys are going to head into some trouble there, and it's hilarious too. It's great. It's a fantastic novel. My wife will never read it. I bought it 4 years ago, and she keeps having it. It's on her desk or something, but she's never cracked it open. It's too bad because it is a fantastic book, but that's what I'm talking about. We need more novels. A novelization of Quantum Leap, where he makes his final jump. I'd read that. I think there's still time enough to gather interest in that and write a book on that. I don't know. I don't know if a book publisher needs to say, hey, how much are the cheap rights to publish a book on Quantum Leap? I think they should take the leap of faith and do that. But either way, even Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, I'd appreciate a book on. All these I would appreciate a book on, to be honest with you. And one of them has gotten a book. Anyway, that's a spoiler there. Spoiler. Number 3 is a TV show called Limitless. I didn't watch this when it came out. I watched the movie. I loved the movie. And someone said, did you see the TV show? No, it's not starring Bradley Cooper. But it is a direct sequel to the movie. And Bradley Cooper does make guest star appearances in it, playing the same character. At the end of the movie, he is running for senator. Now, he is finishing his term as senator, and maybe he's been senator for his second term by this point, because this came out a few years way past the time the movie had already come out. And now he's playing the same character, giving the whatever appeal to someone else who is kind of playing the role Bradley Cooper played, where he's super smart. And the whole time, we don't know what the purpose is, but Bradley Cooper, who is far more advanced with the drug, if you haven't seen Limitless, it's a fantastic movie, but a guy takes a pill and suddenly unlocks all areas of his brain and he becomes super smart. And now he's taken it for so long, he's super smart, he has a plan, he's running for president right now, he's about to be president, he says, but you are the key, for this whole plan, whatever his plan is. Bradley Cooper won't share his plan with him because he says, you're not ready yet. You're taking the formula, but you're not ready to comprehend everything. You don't see everything yet. And so I'm sure in later seasons, they had an idea of what they wanted to do, what their grand plan was. And we never know because the series didn't get renewed for a second season. And like I said, I saw this even knowing it was canceled. I went ahead and watched it because I heard good things about it, and I loved it. I love the series. I wish they would have given them a TV movie, a couple more episodes, whatever, to wrap up the storyline with Bradley Cooper. And what was the overall point? I didn't feel like I was being, cheated or given some secondhand replacement for Bradley Cooper either. The actor who plays the main lead is great, is very charming, is engaging. I loved it. I was all for it. And we never got to hear the ending. And to be honest, it's been a while since I've searched online. But maybe there's something else, some interview I've missed or something that's come out since then that explains what he was doing, what's going on, so on and so forth, about, what was Bradley Cooper's main plan. At least I hope there's something out there because I really want to know. And again, a novel would have been great, but oh well. Number two is another movie, and I want to say I've talked about this on Saturday Morning Samoflange, but again, I can't find it anywhere. It is a zombie movie called In the Flesh from the BBC. It got 2 seasons, like usual BBC TV shows generally get. They generally get 2 seasons and then quit. They were hoping, I read something from them, they were hoping to renew the series because they had a story arc. And then they even said maybe we'll continue it in books, but they never did. And I guess they won't now. But they have a storyline. Now you're thinking, oh no, another thing about zombies? Yes, this is back when Walking Dead had come out and everyone wanted to talk about zombies. Everyone had a billion zombie movies. Zombies were in back there for a short time. Zombies were the thing, right? And in The Flash, though, leave it to the BBC to take this unique perspective on it. This is after the Zombiegeddon. After all the zombies have come and terrorized the town of this little town in Britain, what happens is someone finds the cure. Now the thing is, the zombies are now in their right. They're in their right mind. Okay, like they have all their thoughts of when they were living. They can speak. They can talk normal, but they are dead inside. Okay, so their skin is a little rotted. It started. I mean, it's kind of at a standstill. So some of them have to wear heavy makeup to cover patches. Some of them just need to wear makeup just to look normal because their skin's really pale, okay? So there's no way to regenerate tissue, but they're just living in their dead body. It stopped decomposing, but it's just dead. So they don't eat anymore. In fact, if they do eat, they just vomit it up like bile. And some of them have to wear contacts to get rid of their zombie eyes to look normal. And even though they're dressed up, some of them have to wear wigs too, because the hair's either caught on fire or they fell out. So they all look a little bit off. You can tell who the zombies are and who the real people are, but they do a good job. It's light makeup, just slight differences, and the story is incredible. The story is absolutely amazing. What happens with this with the main character is he moves back in with his family. Some people hate the zombies because of what they did. They ate the townspeople, ate some, friends, family members. So some of them are getting killed. But they're trying to reintegrate with society is what they're doing. But to make matters worse, his sister was part of the celebrated zombie, defense team. She was the one that protected the town against zombies. She killed zombies, and we find out later on she was the one who found her brother as a zombie, but could not kill him. And thankfully kept him alive, didn't know what to do with him until they found a cure. Or he would have been one of the dead people. Dead zombies. Because if he got struck through the head, bullet in the head, you were done. And so this whole story is about, the struggles of trying to integrate with society, not being alive anymore. How do you make those connections? Loss, comfort, joy, aggravation, all this stuff. And it was so fascinating. It's such a fascinating story. But the thing that really really hooked it, and I don't want to give anything away, but at the very end of the season 2, they put on the biggest twist. And I was like, whoa, did not see that coming. They're supposed to stay on this medicine. If they don't, then they'll revert back to zombies. And there's a big twist at the end, kind of involving that a little bit, but not what you would think. And I was so impressed by the twist at the end. It told you something. You didn't know what, but it just told you something and went, oh my gosh, what is going on here? Again, don't want to ruin it. I would still suggest people watch this, even though it doesn't have an ending. And I was like, wow, that was really good. Remember, it's the BBC. It's like 4 or 5 episodes a season that are an hour long or an hour and 10 minutes long because BBC don't care. They just want to tell a good story. And they do. There's no time wasted in a BBC story here. But I was so infatuated. In fact, I looked everywhere for this novel they talked about. They made continuing novels. They never did. I still want to know. I'm dying on the inside to know what the story was. Because, honestly, if they would have wrapped it up, it would have been, in my mind, one of the most underrated TV shows of all time. If they would have wrapped it up. They did not, but if they did, most underrated. Easily. All right, so number 1 should come as no surprise to anyone who knows me. It is Firefly. Yes, they did a movie. They didn't wrap things up. Yes, they've done books. They've done comic books. I think the comic books are complete and utter trash and garbage. But I really wish they would have wrapped it up with a story, even with novels, which they were doing fine, but now I haven't seen a novel come out in about a year now, and I'm worried that they're done doing novels. I don't know. Maybe I should Google this. If they're doing novels here anymore. But I'll be honest, some of the novels that just came out were not as good as the earlier ones, written by Hargrove. James Hargrove was his name. I really, really wish they continue making them. The last one was... Oh, wait. Is there one here? I'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe there is another one that's out. Maybe they are coming out with them still. Maybe I missed this one. Did this one come out? Uh-oh. Maybe I'm mistaken here. Either way, they've been fun. They've been really fun novels to read. And I've enjoyed each one, but I want an ending to the series. Well, the Firefly novels basically just continue the series on. And it happens before the movie, where everyone's together. The comic books took place a little bit after the movie, which is fine. Okay, yeah, this one's coming out. I'm looking at it. So it's coming out later on this year. Excellent. Excellent. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I will get this sooner rather than later. Good. Next few weeks it's coming out. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to get it. Don't know who the author is. But they haven't gotten good authors, I'll be honest. Lately, they haven't gotten the best authors. At the very beginning, James Hargrove, it felt like an episode. But I want to see more. The comic books really sucked. They were really bad. But I'd like to see an ending to the story. That's what I want to see overall. Will I ever see that? Probably not. But everyone knows Firefly. I don't really have to talk about Firefly that much. But it is a great series. And that they continue on in novels is a good thing. But now I just want it to end. Just give me the ending. Maybe someday I'll go back and buy all the comic books in a trade paperback. But I felt the comic books were garbage. I got them for a little while. But I had to stop because I just felt they were just such utter trash. I mean, just a waste of time. Every story they told, every one shot, just felt like, ugh, this is so bad. Who wrote this garbage? But the books, for the most part, the earlier ones are better than the later ones. The later ones have been so-so, but I'm still interested in getting them because I'm a book guy. But yeah, so there it is. There's my top 5. One thing I do want to say, I want to tell a little story about what happened at the dinner theater. At this point, when this one airs, I may have just wrapped up the dinner theater. But I did have a fun saying, and it's not spoiling anything who hasn't seen it. But in the dinner theater, I'm a vampire. I tell someone, one of my lines is, "I want to suck your blood." And that's what I say to one of the people in attendance. Because you're supposed to interact. Dinner theaters are very interactive with its audience. And so I went up to an old lady's table and I went, "I want to suck your blood." I thought that'd be fun. And the old lady looked at me and went, "Well, I'm sorry, but I'm sitting on mine right now." And I didn't know what she meant. Like your blood? And then I realized she thought I said butt. And she wasn't trying to be dirty either. But I went, "Did you think I said butt?" And then she started laughing when she realized, "Oh, you said blood," because her friends were saying, he said blood, not butt. And they all start giggling. Well, of course, the whole audience erupts. And, I'm trying to keep a straight face. And I said, "Why would I want to suck your butt? Why would you say that?" And then she happened to have a little mixed drink at the table. And I picked up the mixed drink and showed the crowd and went, "This is why." And everyone started laughing. It was excellent. But then later on in the show, I am supposed to woo women around the room with my enchanting hypnotic stare. And when I'm doing this, holy crow, an epiphany hit me right as I said that line. And I pointed at the old lady back at that table and I went, "We're going to start with you, butt sucker." And the whole audience died. They died full of laughter. Super funny moment. It definitely got the biggest laugh of anything else we said. But it was a super, super fun time. And I'm sure I'm going to have more times. And maybe on Saturday Morning Samoflange, talk about my fun interactions. I would have to skip this story now because that would definitely be up there. It may be number 1. There's going to be several interactions we're going to have with crowds. There's going to be several moments where we're going to laugh and have fun. But that moment, man, you bottle up moments like that. Those are just great moments. Maybe just talk about general hilarious moments that happen during dinner theater and interactions with people. Because, boy, not to destroy everything for this potential podcast idea I have, but there have been some fun interactions with the crowd that I am still laughing about today. So maybe that's on another Saturday Morning Samoflange. Oh, and let me know in the comments below about, of course, what TV shows you wish would have gotten an ending, not continued. No, we're not talking about continued. You wish they would have ended. I'll also say this, just an easy quiz here. Maybe I should put this quiz on YouTube. Maybe I will. If nothing happens in the comments, maybe I will put a quiz on YouTube. But not as many people listen to podcasts as they watch the Star Wars videos. Co-host. You want Benjamin back? Do you want to hear more Mikey? Old school CJ's really hard to get a hold of these days. I saw the man the other day, but I mean, he's just super busy right now. But I will get CJ if I have to. Any of those old co-hosts you miss? Someone who guest hosted you want to see again? The missus is off that list. She's never coming back to podcasting, at least not anytime soon, she said. She was whatever December 31st, whatever the last end of the year Samoflange we did together, when we did a whole year of Samoflange together, she said that's it. And she has not come back. She has no desire to come back. So you can't get her back. But is there another host you'd like to see on here? Or someone who's guest hosted that you'd like to see back? I appreciate the guest host. I love having Benjamin on. I'll have him on again. In fact, he just happened to come back at the right time when I was struggling to find a host. To be honest, I think I even said this one time, but Samoflange was about to fold up. I thought, well, maybe I don't need 2 podcasts anymore, maybe just one. And Samoflange was the one that, in the views on iTunes and YouTube collectively, it usually falls below Prince of the Universe, which is the more popular one. And at times, it has gotten just as popular. At times, it's been very close. And once, I think it beat it. But, usually Prince of the Universe, bigger main ship. Saturday Morning Samoflange, not as much. But I'm glad I kept it, and I'm glad I got co-hosts. Of course, if it just is me doing this all the time, yes, I would. If Benjamin were to move away, I really didn't know who I was going to get. I was hoping to get Mikey, but he's not as reliable as he used to be. But I was really hoping to get him back and maybe continue on. But I can clearly see that without Benjamin, and I mean, Wes, for his credit, has also said, hey, man, I'm ready to come on whenever I want. Yeah, he's Prince of the Universe. I love talking to him on Prince of the Universe. And just if it's the same 2 guys doing the same podcast on different ones, then I'd rather just talk to them on one podcast. I'd rather just fold Saturday Morning Samoflange if that was the case. Not that I want to do that right now. I'm just saying, it seems to be good hands. Benjamin's here forever. And I'll be honest, there's a few other people that I've been wanting to have on, maybe get some of the cast on here to kind of talk and introduce themselves and whatnot and laugh with them a little bit, so to speak. So that's a few other ideas I had. I do have lots of topics, though. Not done with topics. But however, it's been a while since I have requested topics. And I do, where's the time here? Oh, yeah, I have plenty of time. All right. So if you do have, I thought I was going overtime here for a minute explaining all this. If you do have a topic that has not been discussed, or maybe you feel like, man, you discussed this years ago with Mikey and CJ, I want to hear, are your thoughts the same on it? We may revisit. So I'm totally against revisiting the same topic. However, it has been years since we've addressed some of our previous topics. So when we come back, should we, maybe 1 or 2 we've revisited. I can't remember. I like to say we try to keep them fresh here. But if there's a top 5, nothing's too ridiculous, though, because like I said, the ones I have are kind of off the wall, and I'm happy for the ones I have. But, and I have very limited time with a friend of mine coming in this weekend, very limited time. In fact, I doubt we'll able to do a podcast, but I'm going to try to keep him here for a podcast. But it's really, we're going to be running low on time, so I don't think we're going to spend our time talking on a podcast. But either way, though, if there's a topic that you would like to hear us talk about, let's go ahead. This will probably be my last solo one that I'll be working on. I hope so, at least. I don't like doing solo myself. So when I do have a podcast, when someone else is with me, I much prefer bouncing off ideas and jokes and witty banter, like I did with Wes. As of this podcast, I've already done one with Wes, and it just felt so good to be back and not having to carry on a conversation, because my My fear is, oh, it's going to get boring after a while. I'm going to drag, and usually it doesn't. Usually it doesn't. I listen to some of these and go, they drug a little bit there. But for the most part, I'm happy with what I've had to say. Anyway, wrapping up, rambling on. All right, folks. See you next time on Saturday Morning Samoflange.